So this episode has got a shipload of marketing gold dripping from the ceiling. Why? Because I'm speaking to the boss of discount variety chain Shiploads. He's a very naughty boy.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, right there, walking the dog, maybe trying to get to sleep. Good luck with that. Maybe at the gym, maybe driving to work. A motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. And that's why this show exists. That's why I do what I do, to help you build that empire you deserve. Great show today. I have got Ashley Wilson, variety discount store founder of Shiploads. What do you think I said at the start? Shiploads. I know. Great name. We're going to talk about that and plenty more very shortly. I've got a listener question from a student wanting to beef up his resume. Got the marketing quote of the week, and I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into who's coming up next. All that and more on Australia's #1 marketing show. Let's get stuck right in.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
So, let's check in. I'm liking the check-in thing. Do you like the check-in thing? I'd like to know. Send me an email or, I don't know, tweet me. Send me some vibes. How's business? Are you selling plenty? Are you getting by? Are you excited by what's ahead? Don't look back. Are you excited by what's ahead? Got lots of sympathy for my arm comment last week. It's getting better. Yeah, it's getting better. Not as tired. No more excuses. Nah, they get in the way. I've got some bookings coming through for this year, which is great. Amazingly, my first 2 keynote speaking bookings, not necessarily engagements, but bookings are Vietnam. One's in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh. Anyone listening from there? If they are, let me know. We could hook up. And Fiji, Bula. Anyone in Fiji listening? Let me know. We can hook up. We're going to have a small business, big marketing meetup. I'm excited by that. And the other one, Adelaide. Yeah, Radelaide, mate. Hey, Vietnam, Fiji, Adelaide. Love it. I'm excited by that. Oh, I can't wait to get back on stage. I get so excited thinking about sharing the marketing love from stage. It's kind of one of the things that drives me. I get excited by pushing the record button to give you another episode of this show. And I get excited as the MC of a conference starts to introduce me. Get nervous, but I just love sharing marketing stuff with you to help grow your business, What excites you? Love to know. Leave a comment in the show notes or join the forum, either or. Hey, if you want a speaker, if you do want me to come and speak at an event, it's what I do. Head over to timreid.com.au. That's REID. That's my speaker's website. That's where it all happens. You can find out about what I do and stuff. Love to speak at your conference, or maybe you're part of a chamber of commerce or something. My book's coming along well. I've had a few people hit me up on Twitter and Facebook. Why don't you talk more about your book? I don't want to. I just want to get it done. Sometimes I just find if I put the pressure on myself of putting it out there, which is not a bad strategy sometimes of getting stuff done, like letting other people know so that you're all of a sudden accountable. The book for me has been different. I'm just working on it. It's with my editor now. It's getting designed, paginated, all that stuff that you learn as you go. And I just wanted to keep a lid on it. But rest assured, when it comes out, you'll be the very, very first one to know about it. Okay, let's get stuck in to the meat and potatoes of the show. Now, as you know, this show is made possible by not one, but two magnificent companies that love helping small businesses just like you. One's had a bit of a rest. They're back. The other one, they have been with me for years. Love them. First one, netregistry.com.au. That's where you go to get all your online marketing sorted. If it's giving you any grief whatsoever, like your website or getting found on Google or even just like coming up with a domain name and registering a domain name, get NetRegistry to do it. You don't service your own car. You send it to the mechanics. Well, don't do your online marketing. Budget allowing, cash flow allowing, get someone else on the case. And NetRegistry are a good crowd to get on the case because they do. They get your online marketing sorted. Head over to netregistry.com.au and tell them Timbo sent you. And I want to welcome back 99designs.com/SBBM. Now, they've had a month off. Why? They've been busy sponsoring Tim Ferriss's show. Not Tim Reid's show, Tim Ferriss's show. That has taken up some resources. But they're back. They had January off, but they're back. Thanks for all you listeners who are asking, hey, where'd 99 Designs go? We love 99 Designs. Yeah, well, I do too. Who are 99 Designs, in case you don't know? A design-based website where you run a competition to get anything you want designed. Could be a car wrap, business card, book cover. Hey, some of us need book covers. Stationery, websites, you name it. They design stuff. You run a 7-day competition, can cost you as little as a couple of $100 to $1,000. You get designers from all around the world submitting their finished designs in low res. You shortlist them, you talk to them, you choose the winner. You say you win, you release the prize money to them, and they send you the high-res files of your finished design. It's amazing. You will most likely get tens, if not hundreds, of designs. And if you go to 99designs.com/SBBM, you will get a $99 free upgrade as an exclusive SBBM listener, which will get you in front of more designers and most likely 185% more designers responding to your brief. Got to love that. Thanks, 99 Designs, for being a part of the show. Righto, listener question time. This one I love. I love getting letters from students because I just think, wow, they're actively sought out business podcasts. This one's from Ben Nye. G'day, Ben. Thanks for listening, mate. He says, hey, Timbo, I know you get bored reading long emails, so I'll keep it short. Yeah, I said that in an episode a while back. I got a bit of a belting from a couple of listeners. Get over it, they said. Yeah, well, I've got the attention span of a gnat, so yeah, keep your emails short. It works for me. First of all, thanks for the amazing content you produce. I've been listening since episode 200, but I plan to conquer them all. Good on you, Ben. I've just finished my HSC and received my ATAR like your son. Hope he went well. He did. He went really well, Ben. He exceeded his expectations and well and truly got into the course that he wanted to, and I'm so proud of him. He enrolled yesterday into a university double degree, so bring a tear to a glass eye. Back to Ben. He says, I'm looking at doing a business degree at a uni in Sydney. Although your content is marketing specific, I'm looking to delve more into management or human resource management. That's cool. Everything's marketing. Marketing's everything. Ben says, I'm wondering what I should be doing in the interim to beef up my resume. Right now, I'm doing glass work at a bar. Not relevant at all to my degree. Hang on. Stop there. Stop right there. Yes, it is. You're working for a business, Ben. There is management in that business. There are people requiring management in that business. So while you're collecting the glasses, while you're clocking on and off on your shifts, check out how the business is managed. What would you do better? Take notes, make observations, give feedback. Humbly give feedback. There's learnings everywhere, mate. Back to your question. I have no prior experience in management besides school leadership positions. I reckon you would have been a prefect, Ben. And I'm unsure as to what jobs I should be going for that are actually relevant to the course. Do you have any pointers for work I should be seeking during my degree and how to get it? Again, thanks for the content. Any guidance would be truly appreciated. Regards, Ben. Love your work, Ben. Here's 5 tips, mate. Number 1, build your networks. Just build your networks. Getting a degree is great. Knowing people is even better. So you can do that through sporting clubs, business groups, interest groups, charities. Get out there, get known, be social, and build your networks. Do it with the intent of adding value, and you will be amazed at the results. Number 2, start a business, online or off. There's a challenge. Being able to quote an achievement on your resume is great. Saying you've started a business, you're running a business, great. Could be washing cars. Could be starting an online e-commerce store. Could be selling stuff on eBay really successfully. Just do something. I think it'd be a really cool thing to start a business. I wish I'd started one much earlier in my career. Number 3 tip, Ben, keep your resume top of mind, which is what you're doing. Always ask yourself what you can do to add value and make yourself look interesting and motivated to future employers, right? Really, I mean, you're doing that already, but keep asking yourself, how can you make that resume more interesting? Number 4, offer to do work experience. I've just taken on a work experience girl. Hello, Lucy. You know, fantastic thing to do. Being able to get that experience in a business that you love. Lucy approached me. She loves what I do. Smart girl. Got her doing some great stuff for me. Ben, do the same. Number 5, start creating content. Remember, Ben, if you've been listening to the show since episode 200, I would have said at some point, you are who Google says you are. Honour that. When you go for the big job at the end of your degree, future employees are going to Google you. And if a really cool blog comes up, or YouTube channel, or podcast series, mate, that right there is a point of difference. Right there. In a world of sameness, that content creation that you leaned into at the start of your university career, degree, is going to set you apart, mate. Hey, Ben, love your work, mate. I wish you all the best. Listeners, join the forum if you want to keep the marketing discussion alive. If you've got a marketing question, you know. Yeah, I answer some on this show, but no, I get a lot of marketing questions. I can only answer one per episode. I answer all of them inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum every day. Head over to crankmymarketing.com and I'll see you in the inner circle. Righto, today's guest, Ashley Wilson from, every time I say his business name, it puts a smile on my face, from Shiploads. Yep. It is a discount variety store in Tasmania. Ashley has no Twitter handle, so I can't say go and hit him up on Twitter and tell him you heard him on my show. That's cool. That's all right. Hit me up on Twitter. Come over and say g'day at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. So here's the thing. This is an episode all about brand. We have a big discussion about discounting, of course, and the power of consistency to build trust. We cover a lot of marketing ground. Ashley's a good bloke. He shares plenty of gold. But what I did was that I got a past guest from Tasmania in Charles Badenack to introduce Ashley. First of all, Charles was kind enough to suggest Ashley as a guest. Secondly, I needed another Taswegian to frame just how big and successful and what a great job Ashley's doing in Tasmania. And so I got Charles to actually record an intro to that. Now, Charles, go back, guys, and listen to episode 145 before we get stuck into Ashley. That's when I interviewed Charles. He's a financial advisor. He's got a business called Main Street Financial. Main Street fs.com.au is where you'll find him. He's doing some very, very good, helpful marketing, and I talked to him about that in episode 145. Anyway, Charles, thanks, mate, for doing the intro. I'll hand it over to you to introduce Ashley Wilson.
Ashley Wilson is a name that many people outside of the retail sector have probably never heard of. Ashley is a nationally recognised retail guru through his association with Chicken Feed, the discount retail group, before deciding to leave the cosy corporate cubicle to start his own retail business. Now, having built a greenfields business from a standing start in 2010 to have 11 stores, 380 staff in 4 years, and an iconic Tasmanian business known as Shiploads, he's a man worth listening to. The business has taken the discount market by storm, developing a cult following in Tasmania by building a business that's unique, innovative, dynamic and inspiring. Meet the Sam Walton of discount retailing in Australia.
Ashley Wilson, head honcho of discount variety store Shiploads. Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Hi, Tim. Nice to be here.
Mate, lovely to have you here. Ash, how much do you love a bargain, mate?
I love a bargain, Tim. I've been in this industry for a long time now, and it excites me today.
Really?
It's what I get out of bed to do.
Let's talk about the psychology of bargains and of discounting. It's not a discussion I've had on this show before. We've touched on it with the odd listener question, but what's the insight? Give us some insights into the bargain hunter mentality.
Do you know, I take a lot of lessons from people that have been doing this kind of thing for a long time, and I once heard a phrase that poor people need a bargain, rich people love a bargain. And that's very much still philosophically how I feel about it. We have a very broad customer base in the business, and there's nothing like the excitement of the marketplace. And bringing the marketplace into a bricks and mortar store is challenging to keep the excitement of, you know, the fruit and veggie seller in the downtown grocery market. To bring that into bricks and mortar is a challenge every day, but it's a challenge that we embrace.
You raise a great point. I mean, that poor people need and the rich people want a bargain. Everyone wants a bargain, don't they? No matter, you know, what's the profile? You've got a discount variety store in Shiploads. I imagine you get people from all walks of life.
We do. The Australian community has changed a bit. Certainly Tasmania has evolved a lot in the time that I've been in the industry. I started in 1990 directly in discount variety, but there was a store in Australia called Venture that I work with. They were very much a discount retailer back then. But the evolution has been, the value proposition has upscaled a fair bit. Mm-hmm. In the early days of discount variety, quality wasn't as important, and in fact, it wasn't available like it is today. The China quality was quite poor in the early 90s, but customers didn't really care.
We used to laugh, didn't we? Made in China.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to laugh when it said made in Japan, which is ironic if you think about where Japan's at now.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was always them. But, yeah, early days of made in China. And now, of course, as you know, China is the world's biggest marketplace, and quality's sort of been forgotten about being a problem in China, even though it can be. But the big change that I've noticed, if I go back to my early days in the early 90s, the quality of product coming out of China was poor, and therefore the pricing was really, really low. Customers have got a lot smarter, and I think the internet has made them a lot more savvy about what products are out there and the quality and all those sort of things. So when we started Shiploads in 2010, very much part of the original plan was that we wouldn't sell crap, that we would sell good value product and be genuinely good value, so that we didn't get caught up in, one, a long drawn-out price war with everyone else that was selling cheap discount variety merchandise. Two, that we could appeal to a much broader audience than discount variety had traditionally played to. And three, we wanted to be proud of the brand and proud of what we sold. And we'd seen a lot of operators go by the wayside over the years that had just got sick of the whole, the rubbish market, that they weren't proud to say where they worked. We wanted people, us and our people, to be able to say, hey, I love working at Shiploads. I love the stuff that's there. And importantly, a little measuring stick is how much our own people buy in our own stores. And that's a trigger for us to know if they're not shopping with us, then maybe we're not really sticking to that value proposition that we say.
How do you measure that? I mean, outside of seeing them do it,
all our crew have discount cards.
Right.
So we offer a discount on top of what they buy. So we work off pretty low margins, but that doesn't really matter because primarily what we've got is a little inbuilt 380 crew discount shopper club that we know what their purchases are. We know how much they spend. We know what they buy. And it just enables us to measure a little bit of data to be able to say, yeah, they like what we do or they don't like what we do.
So tell me, what you're telling me, what I'm hearing is that you'd no longer get what you pay for. Because, I'm still of the mindset, and I've got 3 kids, but they're all teenagers now, but we've been through, I'll give toys, classic example, going through those early years of kids wanting toys. I remember saying to them, and this is 10 years ago, maybe things have changed, but it's like, man, I'd love to buy you that, but I just know we're going to get it home and it'll break within half a day.
Yep.
Is that changed? Not specific to toys, but can you now buy stuff at an incredibly discounted rate that is of good quality?
The answer is yes and no. Yes, we strive to have much better quality than I guess traditional discount stores have had. And we supplement that with a bit of brand as well. So we might actually have 2 offers. We might have a branded product in say, stationery, for example. We might have a big brand against a generic cheapy Chinese brand. And we let the customer decide whether they want the genuine branded product that, they can trust the quality and the longevity versus the lower quality stuff that there's an expectation it's not going to last that long, but you know what? It's kids' pencils. When was the last time a kid got down to the last 1 centimetre of a pencil anyway? They're going to break them, they're going to throw them away, they're going to lose them, they'll end up in the bucket of 1,000 colour pencils that we already own. Mm-hmm. Yes, the answer is we're deliberately targeting our brand so that we still sell the low value, the average quality but exceptional value product, but we put it up against the brand that's exceptional value and really good quality product.
Right.
In terms of the toys, if I just relate to the toys, what's changed dramatically in Australia is the compliance of the discount variety industry has gone up a notch. And it went up a notch probably a decade ago now, so before Shiploads started. And the days of discount variety getting slugged by the consumer watchdog has, I won't say it's ended because there's still a few cowboys out there, but largely it's ended. And it was going to end anyway. Customers were going to kill that market. But the guys, the government went after a few people, and toys was one of those things they targeted. Candles was another one. Sunglasses was another one. And you still see these dodgy products appearing in markets, especially around the country. But largely at a retail sense, certainly in our business, I know, but it's been cleaned up. And toys was one of those ones where there was a lot of dodgy toys hitting the market that were crap, that wouldn't last very long, and were non-compliant to Australian standards. And that took the sting a little bit out of discount variety because it took the trust away. That trust part is a big part of what we do. And
and part of that, look, you've built this brand, Shiploads. I mean, from what I gather, and I'm not a Tasmanian, but I've been down there, I've seen it, spoken to other Tasmanians. Charles introduced you, fellow Taswegian. You've built this brand which, at the very top level, coats everything, all the other brands that you sell in store with an element of trust. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, for sure. It's very much what it's all about. And we didn't start this business to be in it for 5 years, for 10 years. We created this business because we needed a lifestyle that we wanted to sustain, but we wanted a brand that would last for a long time. It was never about get in, get out. It was about long-term brand strategy. And to do long-term brand strategy, you've got to make sure you've got rules that you want customers for life. Again, I've stolen that saying, I know, but it is in a place like Tasmania. There's 500,000 people here, and when you came down, the population sensor would have picked up. Oh, Tim's in Tasmania. Our population just went up, so we can't afford to upset customers in any way, shape or form, whether they're tourists or whether they're locals. There's just not enough Tasmanians to do that with. And I sort of challenge that's a broader Australian thing too. There's not a lot of Australians, and if you lose that trust and the brand starts to get devalued, you're starting to push uphill.
Tell us about the work you've done on the brand. Visually, it's incredibly, it's high impact. It's incredibly consistent. From your website to in store. I'm guessing your staff have all got uniforms on, branded uniforms on. The crew. How do you manage all this?
So from the start, we set about coming about a logo and a brand that represented what it was we wanted to do as a business. And I've got to say, if I go back to the time that we did that, the frustration we went through and the time that we put into understanding what it meant to have a good brand, a good logo, a good tagline, the right colours, that was not hours of work, but weeks of work. And it took a lot of coming back and forth to it, a lot of debating. We actually used a little bit of external help for a while. We didn't get the name or the colours or any of that from the external help. But what we did was we had a scoring system and we scored names as a start point. We basically, shoveled through a whole lot of names. And primarily one of the key parts of that was when we were scoring it, every single time we'd Google that name and we'd go, does that exist? Who has it? Does the domain .com.au exist in that format? It was very much part of a future strategy of being accessible on the web and a potential online business. So the brand was very much part of the early part of the strategy. Find the right brand.
When someone said Shiploads, Ash, did the room go silent?
Well,
did you know?
The answer is I said Shiploads.
A great idea has 1,000 fathers. And bad ideas an orphan.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the funny thing. There was a couple of things that happened on that day. It was a Friday. It was a late afternoon.
Right.
And
sun was setting.
The sun was setting. The beers had about to be broken out. And we had a gutful of trying to find a name for this business. We were over it. We were sick of it. But we knew that was the trigger point. So the trigger point came. A vessel, we could see the Derwent River in Hobart, and there was this boat sailing up the river, and I said, we need a big name. We need something that tells people that we're going to have big stocks of stock. We're going to have big piles of stock. It's got to be a big word, and it's got to be a little bit Australian, a little bit meaty. And we'd started talking about this business called Holy Sheet, a Manchester business, and we'd started to talk about the French Connection. And we liked the idea that they were a little bit naughty and that they got away with this naughty thing. And then, bang, as this boat's coming up, I said, we need like something that talks about shipfuls of stock, like Shiploads. And I've gone, Shiploads, that's a good name. Write it on the board. And instantaneously, we talked ourselves out of it. We've gone, it's too rude, it's too dirty. Landlords will never let us put that on a sign. Council won't ever let us do this. Everyone will knock it on the head. But we left it on the board, and without telling you the full story, the evolution came when we scored it. It scored highest every single time. When we brought a little focus group in, sounds like we're all very bureaucratic here, but we brought a little focus group in, and they said, that's the name, that's the best name. And the great thing was, the minute we hit that name, everything, the go button was racing like the steam train started.
It's
because
powerful,
it then went, Shiploads, how good's that? We can have a little tugboat. The tugboat, he can be the powerful little image. We need a tagline that goes with it. Great, we've already got taglines on the board there. Let's grab one of those that talks about the saving aspect of what this business is about. And then in the middle of all that, we'd done a lot of work where colour became important, and every discount variety store across the country that we've been working with in the last few years have been blue, red and yellow. So straight away, it can't be blue, can't be red, can't be yellow, can't be black, can't be white, can't be purple, can't be brown. What are we left with?
Green and orange.
Green and orange. Great. Green's a fresh colour. We want to steal that word fresh that everyone likes to use. Great, fresh brand. Green, Mediterranean green, that works. Shiploads, green and orange it is. So we were done. We had the word.
The penny dropped, and you've continued. I'm looking at the website now. You've got new when product arrives, you say it's just docked. You call your staff crew. I love how you've developed your own language, and
exactly the store managers are captains. We've got a training program called Skillship. All the way through the business, every reference you'll find, I'm lovingly known as Admiral.
I was just going to say, you're the rear admiral.
I am the Admiral.
Coming up the back. What are you laughing at? Hey, so
nothing.
so tell me how and interesting as you're telling me that story about finally you come up with Shiploads. I imagine it was probably a similar environment when Branson has gone. We'll call the place. In fact, he didn't do it. I think there was a girl within the business at the start. He said, "We'll call it Virgin." I mean, you got to think like that's bizarre.
Yep.
Calling a business Virgin. Now it's one of the biggest, if not, one of the most notable brands in the world. So I think sometimes when stuff scares us, when we go, oh, the landlords aren't going to put the sign up and the council won't allow it and this and that, it's like, they're almost to me, as you're ticking those off, I'm like, gosh, there's another reason why the name should be, you should do it because
absolutely.
I think
and
business.
Let me say, Tim, we'd looked at a lot of brands over that time too. And what overwhelmingly kept coming through, Virgin, I can tell you, Virgin, when we talked about what kind of language do Shiploads want to speak in, we use the reference even today as Virgin language. So when you see a Virgin sign at the airport and you go, how cool is that? They've said exactly the same as what the other guys say, but they've said it in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to be. So Shiploads talks in Virgin language.
Interesting. I love the example. I think I might have mentioned it on the show before, but where and they haven't got the sign up at the moment, but where it says baggage allowance, it might say 23 kilogram baggage allowance, but you can bring all the emotional baggage you like on, that type of stuff. Yeah, love it. I love it. How much do you think many episodes ago I interviewed a doctor, a vasectomy doctor, and his name is Dr. Snip. And he put a huge amount of the success of his business down to his name. No shortage of vasectomy doctors. It's all he did. He was a specialist, but he just put his name down to being a huge part of his early success and creating that initial brand awareness.
That's fantastic. We have a podiatrist who's Dr. Payne in Tassie.
I thought that was urban myth.
It's true. It's true. Tim, I must talk about one point that I just wanted to raise around that whole branding and getting things.
You sounded like a politician.
Consistent. No. But it's important because I'd like everyone to understand this point because it's something I didn't understand that's been so valuable to us. When we went out there and we asked for, we were actually working on the logo at the time. We wanted a little tugboat and we threw it at a guy by the name of Ben Sanders. I'll name drop Ben. Ben is a graphic artist.
Colonel's son?
I don't think so.
No.
He now lives in, I think he's in Argentina these days.
Right.
But if you go to Ben Sanders, go and look at his website. Amazing artist, does a lot of artwork around Melbourne. But Ben said, part of when I do this artwork for you at not very much money, because we didn't have any to pay him, was you need a style guide. And I said, okay, why do we need that? He said, because you need someone to not stuff up what it is that you've created here. So I'll do your style guide. And he sent me this style guide and bingo, the lights came on for me because every time when we use font, we use Candara in everything we do, whether it's a policy or WebTool or whatever, we always use Candara. Even our emails, I emailed you, it's in Candara. The colour, the way we use the colour, the things that we do and don't do, I'd never done that sort of work before. And you probably have, Tim, but it was important because even today, when we work with new people, we go, okay, just read our style guide first. And then the aha moment comes for them. Oh, I get why your brand's consistent because from the start, you decided you were going to have rules in place. And that's what the rules are.
You've identified something that I can this brand consistency, I'm big on it. Sometimes I can take it for granted, and I know there's a lot of people listening who are going, hey, what's he talking about? Or the penny has dropped. And what happens often as a small business grows, Ashley, is that, you have established, you got your logo, you got your business card, you got your stationery, you got the same font, same logo on it. But then all of a sudden, as the business grows, someone will yell out across the office, hey, listen, can you get the Christmas card designed? Can someone else get the website going? And, everyone's responsible for something, and you lose that consistency because there is no brand manager. You can't afford a brand manager. There's been no style guide put together. And when you lose that consistency, consumers don't go, oh, geez, I notice that the business isn't using Verdana anymore as their font, but subconsciously they notice something's out of whack and the trust starts to diminish.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll tell you, from a simplicity point of view too, it actually stops a lot of those horrible meetings that you and me hate, where you don't have to have conversations about things, because you don't go in and say, hey, this little booklet we're doing, what font should it be? Well, everyone knows it's Candara. Why are we having this conversation?
Yeah, correct.
And if we want to change it from Candara, there's a hell of a lot of things we've got to change again. So
I saw just making all those decisions once and moving on. I saw an interview with Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook the other day, and he was asked, why does he wear the same grey T-shirt and jeans every day of his life? And he said, it's one less decision I have to make. I can focus on the important stuff. And he was serious. I mean, got to laugh, but he was absolutely serious. Hey, I'm going to digress, Ashley. How much do you hate meetings?
Oh, meetings are the killer of a business. They
listeners, we were talking about this before we hit record, but I think it's quite funny that we both agree.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there certainly is a reason to get people together in the one room so they feel like they've got input. But the bigger the meetings, the longer they are, the less input there is from an individual. But the worse the outcome becomes, and it's kind of difficult in a small business. That when we started, we quite literally had a room with our own laptops, and I'm only talking about a short period of time ago, 2010. We had 2 laptops that were ours; they weren't the company's, and a printer and a little server box that we'd bought that sat in the middle of this desk, and there was no one apart from us that had to make decisions. And my business partner Scott, we sat down and basically decided really early on who's going to do what here. And we drew a line in our partnership at that point so that there wouldn't be conflict. He does that, I do that. Fantastic. Let's not cross those paths except to debate each other's areas, but let's not get too caught up in it. And so because of that, I know that if I'm having a meeting on a particular thing, and we'll go down that health and safety track just for 10 seconds to explain a point.
7 seconds.
But Scott will never enter a health and safety meeting except to give commentary on a macro level if he's got a particular point that he wants to make. Meetings can be pointless, poor outcomes. You've got to have people that are good decision makers.
Yeah. I had past guest Chris Ducker who talked about he does meetings standing up, which makes people people don't want to stand for too long, so they that's one way of making a meeting short. And I remember talking, it was either him or someone else, but there's this weird thing about okay, so we'll have a meeting at 2, and all of a sudden people then schedule out from 2 till 3. It's like it has to be an hour. Like meetings happen in hour chunks. I don't know why. I mean, a meeting can happen. I said a meeting today, someone, and it was for 30 minutes, and they said, can't we meet for longer? It's like, why? We don't need to, It's a little bit antisocial because maybe they want to have a chat, for a bit of time, but I don't know,
I used to work for a guy who used to make appointments at 3:12 or 3:17. Yeah. And it was a consistent thing that he did, and I can tell you he was always on time for those meetings. But if he made a meeting for 3:12 to 3:29, that's what the meeting was, and it made him seem incredibly busy, and he was. But it was,
Love it. Hey, now let's keep moving along into the marketing. We've touched on the fact that the name is an important marketing aspect to Shiploads. It's instant recognition. It puts a smile on people's dials. It gets a laugh. It's shareable. It ticks a lot of boxes. What other marketing is working for a discount variety store like yours?
Yep. So in terms of what our normal marketing offer is every week, the answer is we're doing something every week. There isn't a week where we're not marketing in some sense. So primarily we run flyers. We were running catalogues, and that was an 8-page catalogues. We've reduced that down quite a bit because we're convinced that the attention span of customers is getting shorter and shorter. So it's not about filler in catalogues. It's absolutely about killer value, so that every product stands out off the page, and it's not about presenting range. It's about, we have full pages, one product, which is a bit of a thing we stole from a couple of those big guys that start with W and C. But we basically have pages, one product, and one offer. Same goes with TV. TV is still quite cheap in Tasmania. So those flyers, by the way, we run every 2 to 3 weeks. and sometimes in certain periods we'll run one every week if we've got a different offer that we need to make. TV is an underrated daytime thing for our business. Yeah, right. So we have a lot of customers that are sitting home during the day watching, I don't quite know what's even on during the day anymore, but those little soap operas that run, there's a bit of sport that's on. But interestingly enough, the attention span of those small group of people that are at home during the day, they're quite interested, particularly on quirky product. Mm-hmm. So we sell a lot of products we call similar to as seen on TV.
Oh, yep.
Right, and there's great market power on these things. Whether it's 3D sun visors is one that's running hot right now. During the day, you can really capture a market there that otherwise would cost you a lot of money to capture if you're trying to get them during the nighttime TV segments and during the news and all that. So we spend a fair bit of money during the day.
Just chat me through the 3D sun visor.
The 3D sun visor is this strange little thing that came out of America where you attach it with a clip to your visor in your car, and one bit falls down that's yellow, and it looks like, I'm sure you're a cyclist, any of those yellow sunglasses where suddenly the day gets a whole lot brighter?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what this does.
Right.
And there's a clear version that drops down in front of it that at night time, if it's drizzling and rainy, it opens up the vision for people that have got vision impairment and not blindness.
Yeah, right.
People that wear glasses, they don't have to wear glasses. They can drive behind one of these things. And, we do them for $8.88 and our competitors do them for $12. But
$8.88. Tell me about $8.88.
I've got to tell you about that. Let's talk about that. So our price point strategy is a very deliberate one. It's
clearly
we call it off price point and changeable. So we have price points like $262, $444, $9.89, $34.19.
Oh, this is unheard of, Ashley.
It is, and that's very, very, very much the point. Discount variety was traditionally all about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our strategy was to show wholesale pricing where we aim to save the customer every possible cent. And I'll tell you where that come from. It's a bloke by the name of Sam Walton that started Walmart. His pricing back then, when cents and dollars weren't as large as what they are today, where it didn't round off, was very much about showing customers that you're doing everything possible to save them every possible cent.
That's interesting. So that is the strategy there is it looks like a wholesale price.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. It looks like it hasn't been altered, because it altered generally ends in a 9 or a 5. Is that fair to say?
Or a 0.
Or a 0.
Yeah.
But if you like something ending in an 8 or a 3, it looks like it's just what they paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. and I'll tell you the back end to that as well. It's important from an operational point of view because price fluctuations are dramatic, and the exchange rates had a bit of a dilemma at the moment for us because of the amount of imported goods we have. But as well as that, product commodities change all the time. So what it means for us is that rather than moving in large increments, we can actually move by 1 cent at a time. Now, we don't normally move by 1 cent, but it gives us the flexibility to do that. So bargain stores traditionally, when they, the old notion was the $2 shop. The problem with the $2 shop was the exchange rate fell. Suddenly the $2 shop had to become the $2.50 shop, or nearly everything's $2 and other stuff's not quite $2. So with our pricing model, it was very deliberate to go, we don't want to have those massive price increases at these low unit items. From $2 to $2.50 is a lot. Customers don't want that. They notice it. Whereas if we're at $2.07 and we move to $2.13, the price movement's not as large, therefore not as noticeable. And it's kind of hard to remember those prices well. You're more looking at the value proposition. So it is not only it's a front end really good marketing tool, the back end of it is quite a functional thing for us to be able to modify pricing and retail pricing without making dramatic changes to what customers are seeing.
Pricing, the bane of many, many businesses, large, medium and small. Tell me, the whole pricing thing is it something that you sit down every week and smash out, or is there just a formula that's applied to everything and away you go?
Yeah, look, prices don't change that much. We usually have pricing that's set for a period of time. So it'll only change as our cost prices change on a larger sense. So it's not something, our prices don't change daily. They're set.
Yep.
And importantly in all of that, I'll tell you one thing that I believe passionately about, and I've believed this for a long time, but it's been modified in thinking. Discount variety store should be genuine, everyday, low price. And what happens when the corporates take over these kind of businesses, they think that means some of the time, not all of the time. And I can give you a number of examples, but I won't. People will be able to pick who they are, who pretend they're everyday low price, but they're not really. And the reason is they have these things called sales.
Yeah.
Now,
Or loss leaders.
Loss leaders, we have sales, we have introductory price.
Yeah.
All these new little marketing spins, rather than our business has been genuine, trust, all those value propositions that are to the core of a customer's thinking, is they know Shiploads is everyday low pricing. They don't go in there and see stuff on special. When they bought that today, they buy at the same price the next day and the next day and the next day. So there's some consistency to what they see when they enter our stores. And I'll go back to that word again, trust. That's the kind of thing that gives trust, where they don't see, I don't feel like a trusting customer when I go to a store and I go, "Bug, I bought that yesterday and now you're 20% off."
Doesn't that kill you?
Like, you're really upset as an individual when that happens. So someone in marketing and retailing, why don't you think the same thing? Like, if you're annoyed as a consumer, why doesn't that annoy you as a business owner? Why do you do that to your customers?
Marketing 101, think like your customer, not like the business owner or a staff member. Doesn't happen enough. Does not happen enough. What do you say to someone? I have a saying, a concept that I talk a lot about is helpful marketing, and I always say to my listeners, someone's got to be the most helpful in your industry. It may as well be you. That it can apply equally to being the cheapest. You've chosen to be the cheapest in your industry, and you are owning that. And we've said it before on this show, being cheap is expensive. And I remember being the marketing manager at Flight Centre in a past life, a discounted travel company. And it was expensive being the cheapest. Big advertising budgets, all that type of stuff. What do you say to a listener who is thinking about discounting? Because often discounting for the average business is it's like a last effort. When everything else has been tried, it's not working, stuff it, I'm just going to cut my prices in half. And we know where that ends. It generally ends in tears.
Well, I think, importantly, our business is about trying to remain unique and different and not trying to be everything to everybody. So there are products that we just don't sell in our business. So we avoid highly competitive product that every year is bastardised in the marketplace. If I take a lever arch file, for example, you go into a stationery shop or an Officeworks during the year, you'll pay about $4 for a lever arch file, but during back to school periods, you'll pay $1. And so, unfortunately, that's one of those products you go, you know what?
Don't go near it.
Every year, that's red hot, don't go near it, don't touch it. For a sucker right now trying to sell milk and bread out there in the marketplace, when the lead-in price is $1 a litre and 85 cents for a loaf, you know what? I say, don't even go there. Like, you're better off upselling a better product and selling the value rather than, going way down to the bottom. So the Shiploads business is not about being absolutely the cheapest on a commodity item on every single possible thing on the shelf. We don't try and do that. We try and take that value as being the primary thing, so that what we are selling, comparable value of that product in the marketplace, we are cheaper. So not at the bottom end, but somewhere in the middle, and being primarily about value first.
You walk this insane line of value, which is not necessarily the cheapest, certainly not the most expensive. There's quality involved. I'm not going to be let down. I'm not going to be coming back 2 days later with a return. You don't want that. The customer doesn't want that. It's a really fine line.
It is.
Now, tell me, last question, big question. I recently had Paul Greenberg on the show. It was a highly listened to episode. Paul is the head of NORA, the National Online Retailers Association, Ashley. He started Deals Direct in 2004, made a bit of dough. He's got some very, very strong views on high street retailers and how they should be getting online. I have looked at your website. I've looked at your Facebook. Clearly, you can pull me up here, mate. You're not putting a lot of love into the online space yet. Is it a threat? Do you not see it as a threat? What's the go there?
Well, the answer is it's always been part of our strategy to move into an online presence at some point in time. At the moment, we're talking to our Facebook friends.
I've been a bit harsh there, by the way. I feel guilty now.
No, not at all. But certainly 2015 was always, the period up until now, the first 4 years was about building a bricks and mortar business. Mm-hmm. It was about taking on our hardcore competitors that we'd had and still have today and embedding a nice culture that could feed us, if you like, through the next stage of the business, which is to explore and to navigate our way through the umbilical cord, as Paul called it, nice. Of online retail. So very much an extension of what we're doing now. And there are projects underway right now that's actually exploring this space.
Does it scare you?
No, not at all. In fact, it's extremely exciting because one of the most asked questions we get both through email and through Facebook is, when are you guys coming to the mainland? We love your business. When are you coming to the mainland? And the thing that excites me about online is, hey, we're not that far away, guys.
Yeah, which mainland? America, Europe, Australia?
Exactly. We're just a parcel post away from you. So the opportunities are exciting for us. We're looking forward to the future and seeing how we can make money out of being in that space. But certainly looking at it through, through shiny glasses right now. We see it as being massive opportunity, something we want to play with. We're looking forward to it. And the good thing about Facebook has taught us as well is we've learned a lot about not stacking on friends that are false friends. Mm-hmm. We're finding that we're getting good engagement from the people that we do talk to on Facebook. Rather than just going randomly out there just searching for friends ad hoc. It's been a very deliberate thing of adding to that. So, yeah, look, it's certainly part of our strategy. First part of the strategy is done. We've got a nice network of stores across Tasmania. We've got a good customer base. We're appealing to, an average week at the moment. We've got 5,000 to 6,000 customers per week coming through our stores. We sold to 5.1. Well, there was 5.1 visits per Tasmanian in our stores last year. I didn't count you in that one. But 5.1 visits per Tasmanian, I think, is very, very good.
Yeah.
So we've bettered that down. The online stuff's exciting. We're looking forward to seeing how we can do some stuff in that space. And yeah.
I love it, mate. I watch that space with interest because clearly it's something that's a huge opportunity for you, and just as much as it is an opportunity, it's a threat. Someone's got to own that space, and hopefully it's you guys. So, Ashley, mate, thank you for clearly listening to past episodes of this show. I love your research, mate, and thanks for joining us on the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, Tim. It's been a pleasure.
Love it. Loved that chat with a fellow who's got a sense of humour, a big enough sense of humour to call his business Shiploads. Love it. My top 3 learnings, marketing learnings from that, thanks to the very good folks at Net Registry and 99designs.com/SBBM. Number 1, building trust is everything. Do it through being consistent with your brand. We speak a lot about this. There's a whole training unit on it inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Be consistent, build trust. Number 2, meetings are the killer of productivity. Are you meeting too often? Are you calling meetings? Are you wanting coffee with people? Stop it. Stop it. Or if you are, keep them short. Hey? Keep them to 30 minutes, 12 minutes. Don't have to be an hour. Learning number 3 from my fireside chat with Ashley, spend time getting your business name right. Now, that's not possible if you've got an existing business. But if you're listening and thinking of starting a business, I do love the idea of spending good quality time getting the name right, because there's a certain pride in having a great business name amongst yourself, your staff, when you tell people. And if you get it right, you can create a language within the business, just like Ashley has. So I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did bringing it to you. Head over to the show notes of episode 224 and leave a comment. Would love to hear your thoughts. Righto, team. Marketing quote of the week. Do you know what? I've lost track as to whether I have shared this as a marketing quote of the week or not. So if I have, I'm sorry. But it's my favourite, one of my favourite quotes. And it goes like this. If you think what you've always thought, you'll do what you've always done. And if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Love that. Think about that. Philosophise on it. Toss it around over a cheeky little beer or coffee. There's plenty in there. And hopefully it'll move you into some marketing action. Righto, team, it brings us almost to the end of the show. I have got an interview next week that has a very awkward start to it. That's all I'll say right now, but it's got a bit of an awkward start. Love to see you inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Head over to crankmymarketing.com. I'm just in there every day answering your questions, and there are a multitude of other motivated small business owners just like you ready to answer your questions and to just push you along in the journey that you're on, because it's tough. It's fun, but running a small business is tough. The idea of the forum is to give you a little bit of a G up, a bit of a leg up. So I'd love to see you in there. Enough from me. I'm Timbo Reid. I am in Melbourne, Australia. I like to travel the world. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.